For me, it's buy the building, rehab the building. Pro formas mean absolutely nothing to me. They're very important to a lot of people, and I would still say they're very important. Like,
yeah, but in my opinion, those are like, it's like a make-believe story they're trying to sell you on.
Look, and especially I learned this from Brian. He's like, look, man, I can make performance say whatever you want them to say. I'm a numbers guy.
Yeah.
And Jared, I'm not a numbers guy. So I don't do performance. So I'll buy a piece of real estate. I'll dump in whatever money into it that I need. I know I'm still of the mindset, if you build it, they will come. And Main Street Walhalla is a perfect incubator.
Yeah.
Like laboratory to test. I get to play SimCity for real.
Yep.
Buy real estate, rehab it, create the businesses that I want to see in town, and go from there.
Get it rolling. So
not a lot of people would do that.
Yeah.
Some of my tight circle said, "You're nuts."
Well,
in 2015.
And I see why they would say that. Mm-hmm. And luckily, everything you've done has been successful. Sure. But if you would have rolled a bunch of money into one of your properties, created the business that you've created, and then it was a dud, so then you can't sell it.
Yeah.
And you have all this money in it.
Yeah.
And
we've seen that happen.
And then you might look at so-and-so and be like, man, you're right. Mm-hmm. But because that's never happened, you're like, we have seen that happen here in town. Somebody do that?
Yeah, we don't get into that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a kind of a tricky game. You can't get over the tips of your skis. I mean, you have to, you got
to feel comfortable in where you're in. And I never want us to say, man, take all your money out of the bank and go buy real estate because that's the way you're going to do it, and go and borrow money and rehab because you're going to be great and it's going to work out for you like it did me. I'm not saying that at all.
So
I took a risk.
Yeah.
No question.
Okay, let me ask you this then. Say there's somebody watching or listening, and they want to get into real estate.
Okay.
They've never purchased a property, never rented, never signed a lease, nothing. They've never done anything. They got a little bit of money. What do you suggest they do? Where do they go first?
Find an expert. It really depends. I can speak a lot more to the commercial side than I can the residential side.
Yeah.
I flipped one house and I hated it. And I'll tell you why. I made, maybe $70,000 on the flip.
Yeah.
But it was just a job. Hooch and Trey worked their asses off to get it done. And
no creative process in it.
There was nothing. It was a house and it needed this and this, and it was like blah. Commercial buildings have a soul to me. Right.
Well, yeah, and I think they've
got a history to them.
And the fact that you like to create something that is like a business is like a person, or I don't know,
like clay. You get to shape it, mold it.
Yes, but you also get to see it operate. It's like a car, whereas a house is like a house. It just sits there.
Yeah.
A business is like a car where you get to see it move.
Yeah. So you
get to take it for a test drive.
The justification I put in doing the house was I made a really amazing home for somebody to make a lot of memories in.
Yeah.
And that's it.
But that didn't excite you as much.
And it did not excite me as much.
Yeah. Because you don't get to see those memories being made.
That's right.
But in a business, you do.
In most of the buildings in Walhalla, they all have operating businesses in it. And my satisfaction comes from, I did that.
Yeah.
And I'll spend money there and I'll support the businesses in there. And I did that.
Yeah.
And that's cool. I'll move on to the next one. But
you get to see the payoff in more than just
So if somebody wanted to get into real estate right now, with interest rates where there are, elections coming up, I would go back to what Tommy would tell me. If you've got $100,000 to lose, go for it. But you'll never lose the $100,000.
Let's think about it like this, though, because to me, every market is there's you can win in every market. In my personal opinion, you can figure out a way to win in every market. I mean, we could even go back to the wholesaling side,
but we won't, Andy.
Technically, if you're really wanting to get into real estate, wholesaling wouldn't be a bad way to get your feet wet. You just got to make sure you got buyers for your property. If
you're willing to put in the work and you're willing to take the risk and keep your day job today, right, you're going to have to. I could be totally wrong because I'm not the expert in the room. I don't see brick and mortar, if you get it for the right number, a bad investment.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Yeah. I'm with you.
I don't see it. Now, you may have to sit on it for 5 years.
It may go down for a little while.
But I don't see it a bad investment.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
You know, and so for this small town, people are like, well, aren't you concerned with the people that are on your current council?
Yeah.
You know, that make the decisions? Let me tell you what, from 2015 to 2022, we didn't ask permission.
Yeah.
And it shows. We got way more done. Now, those days are gone. And now we're kind of getting into the bottleneck of, well, why can't I do that? So you'd want to pick the right town where you're at.
This is what I'm with you, though. Real estate's always going to be, it may take a while, but it's always going to be there. You look at like some of the big movers that are moving into this town. We were talking about one earlier.
Yeah, that's right. That's
you
right.
know, that building that he bought.
That's right.
I never thought it would be sold. Yeah. I looked at it. I walked in there and somebody had come in there, ripped all the copper out of it.
Purchase price never scares me. Upfit always does.
Yeah.
That's very important.
That was a big upfit too. But
purchase price never scares me.
Upfit always when he gets that thing done, it'll be a pretty
millions.
Yeah, it'll be a sweet building.
Millions.
Yeah. So you see these big players coming into town, and you know, a year ago maybe somebody that was wanting to invest in this community would have been like, man, but I just don't see what's going to happen here. And then all of a sudden, boom. The ones that do get it come in here and buy everything up. And then
there were a few of us that started in 2015, and we didn't know each other at the time. Like I'd moved back from the Midwest, didn't know what I was going to do. So I was going to fly fish and paddleboard for like a year and just see what
that was going to be your job. Be a pirate.
That was it.
You're going to be a professional pirate.
Lake house, and I'm just going to.
That needs to be your tag, professional pirate.
Pirate everything, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to hoist the black flag and slit some throats, but hey.
You got Hugh with a Patriot.
Yeah.
You're a professional pirate.
Yeah, sure. So there were a few of us in 2015 that were we came back home and we didn't know each other. And all of a sudden, one building got bought, another building got bought. I lost out on a building 3 days.
Yeah.
Because I waited 3 days. It was on the market forever. And then a lady named Lana Justice came in and said, I'll take that building. And we met. I was like, you stole that from me. She's like, I didn't see your name on it.
Yeah. And
then we just started buying up everything. And then we built a great relationship.
Yeah.
Right.
You leased from her for a while.
Rented an office space from her at 224. She put the first co-work in Walhalla. Yeah. I put the first Airbnbs.
She did a good job with that too.
The Airbnbs were her idea.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
No, upstairs. No, I didn't know that.
So we were at 224, and it became just a think tank for me and Lana. Holly was in the room. There was somebody else in another office.
It was a great space, man. Because
we just jam out and then just throw ideas against the wall and walk up and down Main Street. Do you want to buy this? Yeah, let's buy that. You want to do this? Yeah, I'll buy that. You buy that. Okay. So I said, have y'all heard of this Airbnb thing? You know, think it'd work? And she's like, well, you got an upstairs you're not doing anything with.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
The lofts.
Yeah. She said, you should call it Lofts Over Main. I'm like, that's genius. Over the streets, under the sheets. She came up with the tagline.
Yeah.
Just genius, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we did, and it worked. Like, I've not had a failure on Main Street yet.
Yeah.
Well, Arthur Brown Square was a failure.
Nah, well, yeah.
Yeah, we bought it. Adam and I bought it. 3 months later, hurricane hit us.
Roof fell in.
All the way in, and it collapsed.
Yep.
So city ended up buying it from us.
The thing is, though, is if that wouldn't have happened, it would have still have been a win.
There's no question. Purchase prices in 2015 were pennies on the dollar.
You didn't pay nothing. You had a whole block in town.
Bought the whole block.
How many retail spaces were in there?
I think the cap rate was 29%.
Was there how many doors though?
The cap rate was 29%.
Really?
When we bought it. Unheard. Yeah. I called Adam. I was like, hey, I'm thinking about buying this piece of real estate. And he says, for how much? And I told him.
He goes, you want a business partner?
He said, you want a partner? I'll do that deal.
Yeah.
And I was like, sure. Now, this is where partners come in. Because it collapsed, Adam's already been through this before in his lifetime. So he went, I'm going to handle this. Because it collapsed, Adam took the insurance side, and he worked with the insurance company to figure it all out. Had I not had that,
you'd have been screwed.
I'd have been banging my head against the wall trying to learn it all myself. But it worked out. But yeah,
but if it wouldn't have fell in, you had what? Was there 4 retail places there? The restaurant.
There was like 9.
Including the back and stuff, which wasn't.
Some of it was storage, 9 or 10, and there was a little apartment upstairs.
Yeah,
but
there was an apartment upstairs. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So, and a buddy of ours actually lived up there a decade ago.
Yeah.
Like, man, I used to live up there.
So funny story. So back at this time when he bought this place, it had a big shop space in the rear of this building. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was looking for a shop for the Fab Forms to work out of. He's like, man, I got a space over here. He's like, man, I'll lease it to you cheap. I was like, all right, I'll come check it out. So me and him went in there. We walked around, looked at it and everything. There was one thing inside this building. It was the top to his Jeep or something.
Yeah.
The next week,
the
thing falls in, or maybe it was a month later or whatever. And I was thinking, shit, I'd have moved all my cars in there.
Yeah. Insurance company paid me for my Jeep top too.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nothing.
They were like, do you have evidence? And I sent them a picture with a beam in the middle of my Jeep top. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was good. But that's one in a million.
So you're kind of the oddball then. You kind of, when you look for deals, obviously they need to make sense for you, but you look for the thing that sparks some interest in what you can create out of that.
Yeah, on the real estate side, 100%.
Yeah. You look for that chunk of clay that you're like, man, I can see this and that.
Mm-hmm. And having a vision head is a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Because I can see what it looks like finished before we ever start. Now my checkbook sees something a little bit different.
Yeah.
You know? And now that Megan's in my life, we see it sees it a lot different.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you got
and I think I'm done on the real estate side.